Promise me you'll never tell your dad, my mom whispered after I walked in. It was 7:38 a.m. I had just come back from my school bag. She was kissing my basketball coach. I didn't say a word. I just started recording. When I opened the front door that morning, I wasn't expecting anything except a quick grab and go. My school bag was on the kitchen counter. I'd left it after rushing out for the bus. I'd even told Mom, "Don't worry, I'll grab it later." But I forgot we didn't have later. I glanced at the clock on the microwave when I walked in. 7:38 a.m. That time is burned into my brain, because when I turned the corner and stepped into the kitchen, I stopped cold. My mom wasn't alone. She was standing near the fridge. His hand was on her waist. Her palm was on his chest. Their heads were tilted mid-kiss. The kind of kiss you don't unsee, no matter how much you wish you could. And the guy? It wasn't my dad. It was my basketball coach. Coach Lewis. 30-something, shaved head, always smelled like cedar and cologne. The same guy who pushed me hard on the court, the one my mom always complimented. "He's got such presence," she'd said once. I thought she meant his speeches. I guess not. She gasped the second she saw me, pulled away like she'd touched a hot stove, and put a hand to her mouth. Coach Lewis turned around slow, eyes wide, like he just realized he was in the wrong house. I didn't say anything. I just stared. She stepped toward me, all soft and trembling. "Nate," she whispered. "Please, promise me you'll never tell your dad. Please." It wasn't even an apology. Not, "This isn't what it looks like." Not, "I'm sorry." Just, "Don't tell your dad." My heart was pounding so loud I thought it would shake the windows. Still, I didn't say a word. Instead, I pulled out my phone. Hit record. No shaking. No panic. I just filmed them standing there, red-faced, silent, exposed. And then I walked out. Backpack slung over one shoulder. Phone still recording. On the bus, I stared out the window the whole ride. Every bump in the road felt like it was echoing in my chest. I didn't go to my first period. I sat in the bathroom stall, headphones in, rewatching the video. I didn't even know what I was looking for. Maybe a crack in the truth. A sign it wasn't real. But it was. The angle was clear. Their faces obvious. The timestamp right there in the top corner. It wasn't a dream. Or a mistake. Or a misunderstanding. It was betrayal. Neatly filmed in 1080p. That night, dinner was weird. My mom was unusually quiet. My dad was talking about some supplier issue at work. She barely touched her food. I caught her glancing at me 3 times. She was waiting for me to say something. But I didn't. And that scared her more than if I had. She tried to talk to me after dinner. Knocked on my door. I was doing homework. She lingered in the hallway for a few seconds before sighing and walking away. I wasn't doing homework. I was syncing her tablet to my cloud account. I knew her password. She used her wedding date. I know. The irony hit me like a sledgehammer. Turns out she had texted him that afternoon. He saw. He didn't say anything. "I'm scared," Coach Lewis replied. "He won't. He's a kid. Just act normal." That was the moment something inside me clicked. It wasn't just a mistake. It was calculated. They thought I'd do nothing. They thought I was a kid. Powerless. Ignorable. They had no idea. I'll stop here for now. Let me know if you want me to continue with update 2, where the story gets even messier. Because the kiss in the kitchen was just the surface. Behind it, a year of lies. A plan. And something way bigger than I could have guessed. The next few days were quiet. Too quiet. You know that feeling you get when you're in a room that should be noisy? Like a classroom without chatter, or a storm that never comes. That's what it was like at home. Mom was trying to be normal, overdoing it, honestly. She made breakfast, packed my lunch, asked how practice was. I gave her nothing. Short, dry answers. Didn't make eye contact. Just enough to make her sweat. My dad, Mark, was still blissfully unaware. Still waking up early, making his terrible coffee, and telling stupid dad jokes. I started watching him more. How he greeted her with a kiss on the cheek. How he asked about her day with actual interest. It pissed me off in a way I didn't expect. Not at him, at her. At them. Every time I looked at him, I saw that video in my head. And every time I saw her, I wanted to hit rewind and replay her whisper. "Promise me you'll never tell your dad." She wasn't afraid for me. She was afraid of exposure. That Thursday, she drove me home from practice. I usually walked, but she was waiting in the parking lot when I came out. I opened the car door and sat down. Didn't say anything. She didn't either. Not at first. Then halfway home, she broke. "You've barely spoken to me in days, Nate." I stared out the window. "I get that you're angry," she said, voice tight. "But you have to understand, sometimes adults make complicated choices. Your father and I haven't been connected lately. And Coach Lewis." I turned my head slowly. "You're sleeping with my coach," I said flat. She went silent. "Don't spin it. Don't talk like you're in a Netflix drama. You're cheating on Dad." She pulled over. Hard. The tires squealed a little. "Nate," she snapped, twisting in her seat. You have no idea what goes on between your father and me. He's emotionally unavailable. He doesn't see me. And you? You're just like him. Always in your own world, not noticing. I held up my phone. Tapped it. The lock screen was a paused video. The frame? Her. Mid-kiss, one hand in Coach Lewis's hair. Delete it, she whispered. No. If your dad sees that, he'll leave. You want that? You want this family to fall apart. I looked at her then. For real. You already did that. I got out of the car. Walked the last few blocks home. She didn't follow. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something she said was stuck in my head. You're just like your father. So I watched. Observed. Tried to see what she meant. And you know what? She was lying. My dad wasn't perfect. He was a little distracted sometimes, sure. But he was there. He went to every game. He worked overtime to pay for my basketball camp. When I was 13 and sprained my ankle, he carried me 3 blocks from the park to the car without saying a word. She had a good man. And she replaced him with someone who wears boat shoes and says, champ, unironically. The next day, I dug deeper. I pulled up her iPad again, went through the message backups. And what I found was months of this. Late night messages, selfies, comments about my dad being clueless. And worse, texts about me. Nate's too intense lately. If he finds out, he'll probably go nuclear. He'll stay quiet. He's always been passive. One message made me want to throw the iPad. Sometimes I wish Mark wasn't in the picture. Then we could just be. It wasn't just cheating anymore. It was planning. Planning around us. Against us. Like we were just inconvenient details. That Friday at practice, Coach Lewis clapped me on the shoulder like nothing had happened. Keep your head in the game, big guy, he said. Scouts are watching. I stared at him. He smiled like a politician. Like someone who knew a secret. But here's the thing. So did I? And I wasn't going to stay passive. They both thought I'd stay silent. They forgot I had a playbook too. I didn't tell anyone for another week. Not because I was scared. Because I was calculating. See, Coach Lewis wasn't just anyone. He was well-liked. Charismatic. Everyone loved him. He coached 3 different teams. Had a fiancée. Yeah, that's right. Her name was Tasha. I saw the name pop up in a few texts on my mom's tablet. At first, I thought, no way she knows. But the more I read, the more I realized she might. There was one message from my mom that read, we'll never be free of them unless we make a move. And that's when it hit me. They weren't just sneaking around. They were planning something permanent. I knew what I had to do. I went to the one person I trusted more than anyone, Cam. We'd been best friends since 5th grade. Cam was the kind of guy who helped you bury a body and then helped you write the alibi. He didn't ask dumb questions. When I showed him the kitchen video and the screenshots, he just said, okay, how do we ruin him? I smiled for the first time in a week. We made a plan. First step, gather more evidence. Real stuff. Things that couldn't be explained away. That meant screenshots, backup messages, timestamps, photos, and audio. Coach Lewis had this habit of talking with his AirPods in during team stretches. He'd pace the sidelines and mutter things into his phone. I waited for the perfect moment, then synced a Bluetooth recorder I had from an old podcast project. Left it on in my gym bag. Positioned near the bench. What I got? Gold. He was on the phone. And while I didn't get the whole conversation, I caught this. No, he hasn't said anything. He's quiet. He's like his dad. Weak. And then, after a pause. Trust me, we just have to keep acting normal. After regionals, we'll talk about next steps. Yeah, I'm ready if you are. I synced the file to a USB. Put it with the others. Created a digital folder named Insurance. Cam had another idea. We'd use a fake group chat. Made it look like a bunch of senior girls were planning a surprise for Coach's birthday. We added a fake contact with my mom's name. Cam played her. It didn't take long. Coach bit. He texted the fake number late one night. I wish you'd let me come over again. I can't stop thinking about the kitchen. The way you looked that morning, God. We screen capped that. High resolution. Metadata included. We also pulled footage from the Ring doorbell. My dad had no idea the account was still logged into our family's old tablet. Coach had been at our door at 11:47 p.m. on a Sunday. He stayed until 3:12 a.m. That was 2 weeks ago. The pieces were coming together. And we were building a timeline. Coach Lewis. My mom. A year-long affair. Scheming to remove obstacles. Calling my dad weak. Calling me weak. I kept that USB in my backpack every day. Labeled it Physics Final. One bump in the hallway and it would have shattered everything. But that was the thrill of it. I wanted to drop the bomb. But not yet. Not until it would hurt the most. Then, the perfect opportunity came. My dad's birthday was coming up. Big family dinner. Extended relatives flying in. My mom was planning something elaborate. A backyard barbecue with lights, music, even a projector for a slideshow. I pretended not to care. Just nodded along while she listed the menu. But in my head, the script was already written. She wanted a celebration? Fine. Let her light the candles. I'd bring the fire. The day of my dad's birthday, the backyard looked like something out of a catalog. String lights overhead. 2 folding tables of food. Old friends and relatives laughing by the grill. My mom was glowing, pretending to be the perfect wife. She wore a navy dress, the one my dad had bought her for their anniversary 2 years ago. She even called him babe a few times. It made me want to break something. Coach Lewis was there, in our house, holding a beer, grinning, talking to my uncle like they were lifelong buddies. It was the most surreal, stomach-turning moment of my life. He saw me and raised his bottle like a toast. I didn't smile. I just walked past him, into the garage, closed the door behind me. I pulled out the Bluetooth speaker, synced it to my phone. The speaker was already rigged to the outdoor sound system. My mom had done it earlier to play my dad's birthday playlist. All I had to do was connect, hit play, and wait. But I didn't hit play yet. Not until she gave her little speech. Right after cake, my mom tapped her glass. "Can I say something real quick?" Everyone turned. She stepped forward, resting a hand on my dad's shoulder. "Mark," she said, voice sweet like frosting. "You are the most loyal, steady, and generous man I've ever known. You've carried this family. You've supported us without complaint. And I just want to say thank you." She kissed his cheek. My dad smiled, clueless. She gestured to the projector screen behind her. "I put together something small to honor you." The first slide was a baby photo of my dad. Everyone chuckled. I opened my phone and pressed play. The music cut. The first sound that came out of the speaker? Coach Lewis's voice. "No, he hasn't said anything. He's quiet. He's like his dad. Weak." There were murmurs. Then another clip, louder. "I can't stop thinking about the kitchen. The way you looked that morning. God." Gasps. My aunt covered her mouth. Someone dropped a plate. My mom froze. Then the audio from the kitchen video began to play. Crystal clear. The sound of her voice whispering. "Promise me you'll never tell your dad." You could hear a pin drop. My dad slowly turned to look at her. His face went pale. Coach Lewis stepped back like he'd been slapped. The slideshow was still running behind them. Baby photos of a man whose wife had been cheating on him for a year. I didn't move. Just stood there, arms crossed, watching her world crack. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Coach Lewis tried to talk. "Mark, I can explain." My dad raised a hand. "Don't." That one word shut the backyard down. He didn't yell, didn't scream. He just nodded once, quietly walked into the house, and came out 5 minutes later with his overnight bag in hand. No drama, just detachment. He looked at me and said, "You coming?" I didn't even answer. I just walked toward him. My mom tried to follow. "Mark, please." He turned. Did he know before me? Silence. Her lip trembled. Then he looked at Coach Lewis. "You step foot on my property again, I'll press charges. You're done." That night, we stayed at my aunt's place. He didn't talk much, just stared at the ceiling in the guest room. I wanted to say something comforting, but nothing felt big enough. So I sat beside him, quiet, present. That was enough. The next morning, he called a lawyer. By Monday, the papers were filed. And by Friday, Coach Lewis? He was suspended from the school. Indefinitely. Fallout isn't loud. It's quiet. The kind of quiet that creeps into your bones and sits there. That's what our house felt like the week after the barbecue. Except I wasn't living there anymore. My dad and I had moved into my aunt's guest room while the divorce lawyer did his thing. The house on Birch Lane? That was my mom's now. She could keep the furniture, the kitchen, the photos on the wall. We'd taken the dignity with us. Coach Lewis was gone by Monday. Official story? Personal leave. But everyone at school knew. You don't vanish that fast without something big behind it. I didn't even have to leak the recordings. They found their way online through anonymous sources. A Reddit thread popped up the day after his suspension. Someone linked the audio clips. One of the players DM'd me asking if it was real. I never replied. By Wednesday, parents were emailing the school board. By Friday, Coach Lewis's teaching license was flagged under review. And his fiancée? She didn't waste time. She showed up at our school, not quietly. She threw her engagement ring into the gym during junior varsity practice, right in front of a crowd. I wasn't there, but Cam was. She called him a disease, he texted me. Then she said, "Good luck building anything on a lie." And left. I saved the quote, pinned it in my notes. My mom tried to spin things. She posted vague Facebook updates about emotional manipulation, tried to position herself as a victim of emotional abandonment. But it didn't land. Not after the video. Not after the audio. Not after the neighbors stopped waving. She tried calling me twice. First time, I let it ring out. Second time, she left a voicemail. Her voice was soft, broken. "You ruined everything, Nate. You've destroyed your own mother. You have no idea what you've done." I played it twice, then deleted it. She still had her house, her job, but no one stopped by anymore. The backyard where we once had birthday parties stayed empty. The porch light was always off. Meanwhile, my dad, he got quieter, but not sadder. He started going to the gym again, took up running. He even got a new suit for the custody hearing. When I asked if it was for court, he said, "Nah, just figured I'd finally wear something I like." That meant more than he knew. At the hearing, he got primary custody. I was 17, so the judge asked me who I wanted to live with. I looked at my mom once. She gave me this look like, say the right thing. I turned back to the judge and said, "My dad." My mom blinked. Didn't cry. Didn't yell. She just looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. I still saw her sometimes, school events, the occasional drop-off. She tried to be polite, but something had shifted. Permanently. The power she held? Gone. The illusion? Shattered. And the final conversation we ever had, the last real one, happened 2 months after the divorce was finalized. She cornered me outside school, next to the parking lot. Said she wanted closure. "I lost everything," she said. "Your father. My home. My name in this town. You made sure of that." I said nothing. She tried again. "I was your mother. Don't you understand that?" This time, I answered. "Yeah," I said. "You were." She stared at me like I'd hit her. And then, before walking away, she said it again. "You destroyed this family." I looked her dead in the eye and replied, "You did that." I just hit play. Then I got in my dad's car and left. That was nearly a year ago. Coach Lewis? No one talks about him anymore. He's basically a ghost. My mom lives across town in a smaller house. Drives a different car. Never comes to games. As for me, I still play. Still shoot hoops. Still lace up before dawn. But now, when I walk onto the court, I walk like someone who knows what they're capable of. Not just with a ball, but with truth. Because sometimes, the most dangerous person in the room isn't the one yelling. It's the one holding the receipts. And a Bluetooth speaker. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day. And trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.